Until now, all of our unhappiness has come from being selfish. Because we are selfish by training, not by nature. Nature and training is different. If it's by nature, it's unchangeable. If it's by training, it's changeable. There's a difference. So when we change our selfishness, when things go wrong, we don't become unhappy. Because it's not about us anymore. The world is not about us anymore. The world is about others. And then when we change that ego through these teachings and we transform, instead of shunning pain, we are happy to take the pain of others. We're happy to accept the pain of others. I remember two incidences which I'll relate in short. One was when I was very ill in India. Very, very, very ill. I can barely move. And my teacher, my great teacher, who's passed away, came down to visit me. He lives upstairs. He came down to visit me. I couldn't even get up. Because when your teacher comes, you're not allowed to remain sitting. You should stand up and show the deepest respect because he teaches you the Dharma. I couldn't even get up. I was sitting there like this. I could not. And he came and, well, my egotistical, selfish mind said, he's going to do some ritual, he's going to blow some mantras, he's going to give me some magic powder, and I'm going to get well. And I was so excited because, well, he does have those powers. He sat down, he sat there for 5-6 minutes, and he said, how are you? And I was thinking, very ill. Obviously, right? He said to me, well, let me teach you something to help you. And I was thinking, oh, wonderful, a mantra to heal. I really thought that, a magic mantra to heal. He says, everybody and all the old monks and your gurus and teachers and the Dalai Lama, if they become sick and die, the Dharma would suffer. And many beings would suffer because they cannot get the Dharma. Pray that the Dalai Lama's sicknesses and potential illnesses come to you now. Pray that the old monks in the monastery and the great masters, the old ones, their sickness comes to you. You can suffer for them so they can live longer to teach the Dharma. I was thinking, oh, suffer for them. Then he says, then your loved ones and all your friends and all beings on this planet, nobody wants sickness. Nobody. Visualize their sickness in the form of black lights coming to you. Enter your body and you suffer incredibly for them. So tonight, suffer for them and be happy. And then he left. I was like, oh. And you know what? I was happy. Because I followed the instructions and I prayed. By me becoming sick, may His Holiness Dalai Lama not be sick. May my teachers not be sick. May they live very long. May the monastery's elder monks and senior monks who struggled so much not be sick. And may they teach the Dharma. And I visualized the black lights coming to me. And I was very sick. I didn't become sicker, but I was very sick. And that night, every pain that I had, I was happy. Because it was for a purpose. That's what he taught me when I was sick as a dog. No mantras, nothing. And I never forgot that. It brings tears to my eyes. I never forgot that because even while I was sick, I was able to practice Dharma, to develop my mind. Another incident, which they all know, was when I was in a train from Delhi. We went for teaching to the Dalai Lama in Dharamsala. We came back by train. The train is 3 days and 2 nights. Well, I used to say this to my friends secretly. The only hell is an Indian train. Yes, there is no other hell on earth is an Indian train. Because they have seats for 4, but 20 sit there. I'm not exaggerating. They sit in front of you, next to you, chickens, goats, everything. And you kind of say, oh, that's my ticket, that's my number. They look at you, I don't speak English. So a seat for 4, 20 sit there, goats, chickens, everything, and you just, you just get some seeds and feed the chickens. They're hungry. You know, what else can you do? And so they stopped. In the middle of the night, the train goes completely, always, and it stopped. And I had a horrible window that wouldn't stay locked. So when the train moves, the window vibrates up because it's sliding and it vibrates up. Oh my, I must have closed that window 200 times easily on that trip because it's freezing and the rain comes in. So we stopped at a city and I pulled down the window. And then my teacher got up and he says, what's going on? And I told him, oh, we stopped at a city, blah, blah, blah. And there, new passengers, old passengers, the chicken left. Happily, the chicken left. And he says, okay, tonight be careful, you might lose your head. What is he talking about? Then he went and he laughed and went to sleep. So that I had a bag, I had a cloth bag, and I had my prayer book. I had a wallet that had 600 rupees. That was a lot of money for me. That's about $6 US or whatever. I can't remember. Anyways, 600 rupees. And I had my pen and a few other things, my rosary, and I had it in my bag. And I thought I'd be clever. I put the bag onto my head as a pillow, and I wrapped the handle around my neck. So I was sleeping like that. So the next city we stopped, I was being choked. I woke up being choked because the guy through the window was grabbing my bag. And so I was choking because the handle was there. So I turned around, I hear a monk fighting for my bag, and I'm screaming. And I said, stop the train, stop the train. And the train started going. He pulled it back, he took everything. And I didn't have Xerox machines that time. So I have a very thick prayer book. I do everything. I recopied everything by hand, just like last week. He took it all. It took me days to write one by hand. He took it all. And my money, that was my money for the month. I had no other money. I was very poor. And some other stuff, my rosary beads. And my teacher got up because there was so much commotion. And he asked me what happened. I told him. And he laughed and laughed. And he could not stop laughing. He laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And I was getting irritated. Of course, I don't show it, I dare not. And I was sitting there going, and he's laughing at the top of his voice. And then after he wiped away his tears from laughing so hard, literally, he said to me, didn't I tell you can lose your head? Did I warn you? And I was thinking to myself, my evil mind was thinking, could you be a little more explicit next time and tell me put the bag under maybe? What's all this poem and mystery in Tibet? Just tell me you're going to lose your bag, don't wrap it. I was thinking that. Of course I dare not say, we don't talk like that to our teachers. But all my evil anger mind, I was thinking, next time tell me clearly since you have clairvoyance, obviously. And so then after, like I said, he wiped away his tears because he laughed so hard and I'm there getting pissed off. Then he said, okay, now you meditate. Those people stole your bag. They must be very poor and very hungry. Tonight they'll eat because of your kindness. Ooh. All my anger went away. He said, make a prayer. Your money can benefit them. Whatever is in your bag can help them. They must be very poor to degenerate themselves to that level to steal. And from a monk. So he went back to sleep and I sat in the train meditating for about 15 minutes. The train, I meditated. And I had Buddha pictures, Hiruka pictures, Dada pictures, Tsongkhapa pictures, Manjushri pictures. And I know Indians will take the pictures when I altar. And I said, may he take my prayer pictures and put on his altar and pray. May the 600 rupees benefit him. May my bag benefit him, which I really liked because I had it sewn. And I did that prayer. And all my anger was released. Same situation. I mean, it happened. It happened. What am I to do? Continuously be angry? Next person that does that, I become belligerent? It happened. And my teacher warned me. I was there. The stupid American was there, me, who saw, he warned me, and afterwards he laughed his head off. This teacher has passed away. So, this demon that's selfish, my money, my bag, my things, me. That evening, let go. I didn't say I let go next day because there's a long journey, okay? I mean a spiritual journey. The train was long too. I let go that evening and I wasn't angry. And to this day, I think back, it brings tears to my eyes because he changed my whole perspective around that day. From what? My loss to the other person's benefit. And my teacher said, how kind you are to let him have it and not have anger. And that made a difference in my life. Do you know why? I am selfish. I'm not ashamed. I am selfish. I didn't even know it. That's the way I was trained. That's my thing. You shouldn't steal it. But I think maybe his daughter might be very sick. Maybe he hasn't eaten for days. Maybe he's been begging all day in the hot sun or a week and no one gave him anything. He's just at last end wits. Maybe his wife is dying. Maybe he had no choice. Maybe he was just a thief. I don't know, but that's the way we should think. Let it go. So this time the teachings touches me very deeply because I experienced this from my teacher. So what makes us unhappy? Our egos. That's why it says, now. We must gladly take on any hardship. Instead of shunning hardship, accept hardship, accept difficulties, if it will benefit another. Because we may be physically and mentally enduring hardship, but if we accept it openly and willingly, we will become happy because it's to relieve somebody else. I'll give you an example. Someone said to me, if you cut off your finger, I won't kill 100 persons. My God, I'll be scared to death if you cut my finger. It'll be painful. I'll do it. And every time I look at it, a part of me will be happy I saved their lives. But if you say cut off my finger because I went to a club and they slammed the door on it and because everybody was drunk, I'll be very unhappy for the rest of my life, right? Or I got into a brawl over somebody in a club and they took out their knife and sliced my finger off. Well, I'll be very unhappy. But both ways, I sliced my finger off. It's just how you look at it. So therefore, now, we should live in the forests. We should be near people who are difficult. We should keep people who are difficult near us. We should be near difficult situations because they're difficult because our mind is untrained. Once our mind is trained, it's not a difficulty anymore. Once our mind is trained, it is not a difficulty anymore. We can endure tremendous hardships for others. So Dhammarakshita is saying here, what makes us unhappy is not hardships and difficulties or selfish people. It's our own selfishness. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Okay. So all of our sufferings come from our habits. And the beautiful thing is, habits can change. That's why none of this says it's our nature or it's ingrained. It is a habit. Then, when we act out our selfish delusionary actions, when we act out our delusions, then misfortune comes to us. Why is it tragic? Because we don't see that. That's why it's mentioned here as all of us share this tragic misfortune. Why is it a tragic misfortune, not a misfortune? It's tragic because we don't see that. That when we act out our anger and greed and selfishness, all of our unhappiness comes to us. Then people might say, hey, everybody around me is like that. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So if I'm not tough and I don't fight back, they're going to get me. Wrong attitude. When does it end? One day you will lose. One day you'll lose your youth, your vigor, your energy, your health. You will lose. When does it end? So if you know Dharma, if you have received Dharma, you should be higher than those people who act like that. Not higher in ego and pride and arrogance. Higher in your thinking. Higher in your mental strength. Higher in your ability to absorb more problems for others. Higher. So therefore, it is a tragic misfortune because tragedy it's a waste. It doesn't have to be that way. So therefore, it's a tragic misfortune. So if we take on the sufferings of others and smother is like take a pillar and just smother something, a fire out, whatever. When we smother our selfish concerns, happiness will arise. Satisfaction will arise. Peace, strength, wisdom, 100% diligence to work for others will arise. We will never give up working for others. Never. When we want to go seek pleasure, instead of continuously looking for pleasure for ourselves, endlessly, like drinking salt water, never quenching our thirst, now we should work for others, perhaps charity. We should work for others. And even if loved ones rise up against us, people we have hope in, people we trust, they rise up against us, we have to realize that came from our self-interest, because why did we love them? Did we love them for them, or we love them for us? So even loved ones rise up against us, deceive us, separate from us, or go away. Instead of being sad and angry and being depressed forever and blaming them, we have to think, wait a minute, how were we involved in this tragedy? Definitely we adopted them for ourselves. So when they rise up against us or go away, instead of becoming more angry and belligerent, it should be our guru. It should be a teacher. It should be a lesson to be learned and say, okay, that's not the way. It's not the way anymore. So maybe in the future, if we do have relationships, it should be for the right way. And then maybe things turn out differently.